So we're back. You're gonna take me down with you. She's pretty. Sanding it. The hood vent doesn't work. Guys, I just want this project to be done. Oh my gosh, I want this project to be done. I am so done with this project. Building it twice, all of the sanding, all of the dust. Oh, I'm so over it. We have finished, guys. We have completed this hood vent. I have to admit, I grossly underestimated how hard this was going to be. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I know what you're thinking. They started a YouTube channel, put out a couple videos, and then quit for a year. And you would be 100% correct. To be quite frank, 2023 was a little bit of a challenging year for us, and on top of that, we were suffering really bad burnout from renovating our home for the past 2 years. So we decided to just kind of take a breather, take a step back, kind of worked on rejuvenating the rest of 2023. And now I'm feeling creative again. We're excited. I'm back and kind of got a new look. And the project that we're going to use to jumpstart all of this is putting the finishing touches on our kitchen with a range hood. I love that plaster look. I want to bring it in. So this is a how-to of sorts of how to build a range hood. Any project of ours kind of starts with us sitting down and almost having like a brainstorming session of how we're going to do something, especially if we don't know how to do it. First, what we did is taped out exactly how big we wanted it. That way we could tell obviously how big to do it, and then brought the piece out of the box and worked on brainstorming how to build and what size we needed of the frame that we were going to actually hang the vent from and drill into it for that support. Then usually there's a lot of sketching, drawing. We were trying to figure out how we were going to be a little bit particular with the curve, like if we wanted less or more of a curve. I think we landed more like in the middle of things.
And what was the top measurement?
But then we went ahead and took the frames, the wooden frames that we had built around the vent, screwed them to 2x4s in our wall, and then that gave us a base to build our vent hood. I honestly didn't go into too much detail about filming the building of the base. I feel like there's so many tutorials out there now. The main thing that I haven't seen that I wanted to show was how to do a really nice finish, but I didn't want it smooth. I feel like some of the jobs that I've seen lately look too perfect, and that's not what I wanted. I wanted it plaster, beautiful, raw, and some imperfections in it. So the finishing was what I was mainly concerned about. Then we went ahead and added some thin strips of plywood across the front of the hood. That way we had some control over our curve and also had a place to drill our drywall into. After we got all of the base pieces on and secured, I went out and cut the drywall, which is not as easy as it sounds. That is so thick to cut through. They always say to measure twice, cut once, but for me, they seem to mean cut 357 times and you're still gonna get it wrong. So Morgan to the rescue. Oh shit, can you go back up there? After putting up all the drywall and securing it, Morgan went ahead and covered the entire hood with a thick layer of joint compound. This gave us the ability to sand and kind of mold the hood into kind of the final look that we were going for. All right, guys, another day back here working on our range hoods, and you can see what we're doing in front of me. Here is our sanding tent. We've made this mistake so many times that we sand, we don't tape it off, and then we spend the next however many months cleaning up dust. So this won't completely get rid of all of the dust, but it'll get rid of most of it. So currently, we have Morgan here, sanding it. It's all dry. It took about 2 days for it to dry. So we're gonna give it another sand. We're gonna give it another sand, another layer of joint compound, and then sand it, and then hopefully we can put our plaster on it. So really exciting, moving along. Just working on that now, so I think I'll go work on some other things.
Woody 23rd.
The new one?
Yes, the new one.
Okay.
All your concerns today?
Yes, thank you.
Alright, then enjoy the rest of your day and take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. So we woke up this morning feeling pretty defeated. Last night after I got done talking to you guys and took my shower and relaxed for a little bit, we made dinner and realized that the vent, the hood vent doesn't work. There was absolutely no suction last night. I was cooking bacon, it smoked, didn't suck up any of the smoke. We set off all of our fire alarms, had to turn on our whole house fan to get the fumes out, and it was just really defeating because we built this hood completely around this vent with the idea that we would never have to take it out again. So we'll have to see if there's a way that we don't have to deconstruct the whole thing. We've been pretty lucky in this renovation that we haven't really had to rebuild anything, take things down, do things again. We pride ourselves in taking our time and doing the best that we can do to what our skill set is. And this was just one thing that we were just like, okay, this is the last thing that we need for our kitchen, and we get to move on. And so it's just really defeating when we've put so much time and energy into this, and we're gonna have to almost take it completely apart and start again. I ordered the vent hood from Amazon. There are so many options out there, but one unique thing about our vent hood is that because of how the walls are and the decking and everything, it couldn't go into the ceiling. It was going into one of the cabinets when we demoed it, and it actually made the cabinet smaller. So we are doing deckless, which is still kind of a relatively new concept. So there's not a ton of them available right now, and they're either midpoint to really high point. And I went with a product that had 500 5-star reviews on Amazon, and several of them in the reviews even used it as deckless and it working. So we called them and they said that the product is defective and they're sending us a new one. My hope is that this thing truly is defective and the new one will work fine. If not, we're back to the drawing board of not only demoing our hood, but also buying a new hood vent. So I think we're gonna take the day today to do some other things around the house, relax, recharge, kind of get out of this gloomy mindset that we're in right now. We can't work on it anymore this week, so we'll have to look at it again next week. We did, you know, giving credit where credit is due, we did, you know, before we put it on, we put the vent hood, we plugged it in, it worked, it was working fine, it sounded right. Did we put a smoking thing of food underneath or a napkin or something to see if it would suck? No. We'll definitely be doing that this time. If you're looking at doing this, please do that. Learn from our mistake. I know in the grand scheme of things, this is really little, and we've actually been really lucky in our home renovation. We've not squandered our money on cheap appliances and cheap materials. We've been going slow. We've been doing our homework, and we've been doing quality work. And luckily we haven't had to do something like this before. But it's just it's always defeating when it happens, because probably all in all, I don't even know how many hours we put into this. The silver lining is when we went to get our Venetian plaster yesterday, the guy who tints it was not there. So I think this would feel even worse if we had plastered it last night. So luckily we haven't plastered it. Done a lot of sanding. A lot of sanding. So this channel is for honesty. We're not an HGTV show. We're not professionals. Real stuff happens to us, just like everybody else, and this happened to us. So I wanted to. It's not all rainbows and butterflies over here. We're bummed. But we're gonna get through it. We're gonna figure it out. And at the end of this, I know we're gonna show a finished product that we absolutely love. It's not there yet, but it will be. After rebuilding the hood unit yet again, we went to Home Depot and got some ducting so we would be able to vent the recirculating air out both sides of the hood. Since this is a recirculating vent and not a normal vent, it vents recirculated air back out into the house as opposed to venting the air outside, since we don't have any room for the ducting in our ceiling. Morgan then drilled one large hole on each side to allow place for the recirculated air to be vented out from. After doing some back and forth, we actually decided to use shower drain grates to cover the holes. Then we had the idea to layer on enough joint compound so the shower grates would be flush against the sides of the hood. After getting all the ducting and venting squared away, Morgan put on another thick layer of joint compound, and once it was dry, I got to work sanding and smoothing to the finish that we were looking for. And this is what the hood looked like after I was done sanding it. You can see some of the metal poking through from the corner guards, but I'm not too concerned about that because the plaster layer that I'm putting on next should cover that up just fine. After taking a damp rag to wipe away any remaining dust particles, I then went in with a roller and a primer to prime the surface so the plaster had something to adhere to.
So you want to talk me through this method? Is it recording?
I told you.
Is it recording?
Yes.
Well, then let's talk through. Let's talk to the world.
So we're gonna do.
Hi, world.
We're gonna do 3 coats. First coat is called the skim coat. second is called the texture coat, and the third is called the skim coat again.
Do we need anything about his layers or coats?
This.
Like, is it 30% application, like 6% application?
Okay, so one thing I wanted to practice is she said, so when you go slow, it's 2 fingers, so that's low. When you go high, it's 3 fingers. So you go low to put it on, high to wipe it off.
High angle, scrape it off. So it's putting it on a low angle, scraping it off at a high angle.
Okay. Don't fuck this up, Kelsi.
Angle. And you're going to skip the trowel across the surface.
Curious if I like the way you're doing it. You're putting it on like drywall mud. Push it around now. No, you're doing.
I don't like it!
Doing okay. You were just.
No, this is so stressful.
You
Where are my crackers? I'm stress eating right now. Oh. It's a lot harder than I was expecting. It's a lot harder than I was expecting. And hey everyone, this episode is proudly sponsored by Lucerne. Get it at your nearest Safeway today. And some people talk about the difference between 2% whole milk. Not me. As long as it's Lucerne, I think it's good enough for me. Make sure we contact Lucerne about this one.
We did end up doing all 3 coats, and the product was pretty forgiving, so if I didn't like the finish in a certain area, I was able to sand it down pretty well and do another light layer on top of it to make sure that I liked the finish. I'm gonna look back and see in that footage how long I've basically been polishing this without sandpaper. We're gonna figure that out. I'm honestly a little bit too nervous to sand anymore. I feel like with us too, which I feel like is a lot of people, when we first start a project, we're super excited, you know, and we're really invigorated and excited to work on something new, but then by the end, you're just like, God, why didn't it finish yet? But you have to be careful because when you get into that mindset, you do it quickly to end it, and then you cut corners and you have to do it again. I've learned that way too many times. So if I find that I'm just not in the mood to work on something, I just don't. I just don't, instead of forcing myself, which I used to do, because I found I just made more work for myself. Okay, so I just finished caulking, cleaned it up. That's just a little bit of joint compound that'll come off with water, but I went ahead and caulked everything on the side. So I'm hoping I could use the product to kind of fill in that a little bit. Unfortunately, nobody shows the underside of things, so I want to know how other people did it. And then I'm actually going to go in and sand. I don't know if you can see in the camera, but there's some texture I had to do to get that corner covered well. So I'm going to go ahead and sand this last little bit, and then I think I'm going to be able to put the final coat on. Oh, hope it's done. Hey guys, welcome back. It is the next day. I love the finish and I hate the finish in some areas. I just hate it. It's so bad. So I'm going to start sanding. I am so nervous because this is the 3rd coat, and guys, I just want this project to be done. Oh my gosh, I want this project to be done. I am so done with this project. Building it twice, all of the sanding, all of the dust. Oh, I'm so over it. So, but in our next kitchen episode, you are going to learn that we are not done sanding in here yet. And I am very bummed about that, but I'm choosing to look at the final image in my head. Okay, so this is what we have here. I am actually going to start with 320. And then if I'm not making any progress, I'm gonna go down to 220. If this is working, then I'm gonna finish it off with 400. And then we will see how that goes. I'm thinking like, I just want this project to be done. So I'm not like, I'm super jittery about it. I want it to be done. So I can't rush through it because that's where you make mistakes. So serenity now. We're gonna put on a good podcast and we're just gonna lightly sand, and I'm gonna give myself an hour. I've set an hour time. When that timer goes off, we're gonna see where we are, and if I hate it and hate myself. Okay? Don't do that right now.
We're gonna get a good angle.
No, I've got a ton.
I got a better angle.
Okay. Last day working on this vent hood. We're gonna finish it today. I'm gonna finish it. I'm so sorry. It has been really rainy and really drizzly here in California. Does not feel like spring at all. I don't know what's going on right now. So the lighting isn't the best, but this is how we are. Oh boy. She's pretty. Honestly, what I'm thinking is, we've been in the kitchen since December and we're so close to finishing. We're so close. But I think after I'm done with the hood, clean up the kitchen, I think that I'm going to move to the master bedroom for a little bit. Kind of take a break from the kitchen and then get refreshed and re-energized. But I had a couple of things that I want to finish. Stop whining. Stop. No. He's been whining at me all day. So if you can see here, I just have, I have these little metal things that are coming through that I need to cover, and then we need to figure out how to clean this up. These lines down each side of them there. I'll get focus there. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do for those. I'm thinking I'm going to use caulk and caulk that around, and then just use the product and kind of paint it over a little bit. And then instead of doing one major sand, again, we've done 2 coats now, 2 major sands. This is going to be the last coat. Instead of doing a major sand again, I think what I'm going to do is go very lightly. And then I read online, someone recommended to wait about an hour until it's mostly dry, kind of not dry, and do a very light sand. It's very easy to sand and very like moldable. So I think I'm going to do that because honestly with this product, I will admit, like when it fully dries, it is hard. It is hard, and it is, you gotta really put some elbow grease in it to sand it down. But we are so close. After building this thing twice, doing it twice, I'm so excited to call this finished. So this is my job today. I am finishing this if it kills me. After the final sand, Morgan helped me put the finishing touches on the hood by adding the vent grates to the bottom. Then the very final step was to add a protective coat over the top to make the surface wipeable for an easy clean without disturbing the finish. And here she is. Here is the final product. We have finished, guys. We have completed this hood vent. I have to admit, I grossly underestimated how hard this was going to be. It was unique in the fact that because of how our ceiling is, you cannot put vent exhaust fan piping into our floor joists. So when we originally got the home, we noticed when we were demoing that the cabinet, the upper cabinet, actually went all the way to the ceiling. But when we took out the cabinet, we realized half the cabinet was hiding the vent hood and it went out that way. So I knew that we have 8-foot ceilings, so in order to make this kitchen feel larger, we needed to take the hood vent all the way up to the ceiling, which means that we needed a recirculating hood vent, which meant that our air does not exhaust into a pipe and then outside, it actually recirculates and kicks back out. Does it work as efficiently as a regular exhaust fan that vents outside? No, but actually it still works very well. After many trial and errors and many meals cooking with this now, I can confidently say that it works very well, especially better than the first one that we had built. But it came out exactly how I wanted it to. I wanted it simple, I wanted it elegant, I wanted a nice, sweet little swoop, and then kind of a thicker front. I wanted it to mirror the fireplace and kind of bring those elements together since they're pretty close to each other. And I have to say, I'm so excited with how it went. I love the look on the underside of the hood. It really looks very commercial. I love the lights. They have two different brightness. So this is the uber bright one. This is kind of the nighttime one. I honestly have these lights on all the time. I just love the ambiance that it gives. And the lights for the hood vent that we chose before were terrible. They were terrible. So although we were so disappointed to have to build this twice, it worked out very well in the end. We cannot say enough good things about this. This truly worked out so well for us, and I'm so happy with it. I love too, the inside is stainless steel. The top of our range is stainless steel, so they kind of mirror together like that. And with that Roman plaster, it just came out looking like stone. So it just looks awesome. Next few things, we've got a few different things that we still need to do in the kitchen before I can officially call this kitchen done. I want to smooth coat the rest of the walls in here to really accentuate our backsplash. And we're actually going to be doing something very unique with the backsplash as well. We did it, love it. It's just missing a little bit for me. And I think I figured out what we need to do there. So we've got probably a couple more kitchen renovation videos, makeover videos, until I can officially call this kitchen complete. But we're gonna smooth coat the walls, we're gonna work on the backsplash, we're also going to work on organizing the kitchen. I love organization. Seriously, it's one of my favorite things. Like, I'm not a crafty girl, I don't like math, I don't like science. But the best math puzzle for me is figuring out the best way to optimize storage. So excited for that. We're gonna do that, and then hopefully end of the summer, we are going to style this kitchen how I have had it decorated in my head this whole time, the driving factor. So I'm so excited to take you guys with us. I'm so ready for this kitchen to be done. Technically, this is the first room that we started on, and we've been working on it kind of bit by bit as it goes. This was kind of the last huge element to our kitchen makeover, and the rest is just kind of those final touches that are really gonna bring this kitchen home. So thank you so much for tuning in for this episode. We are so glad that you're here with us. I hope you learned something. When we went to do research about installing a recirculating hood vent, there was nothing out there. We finally figured out what was wrong on a random little website that was so obscure, and it was like 5 years old. So I'm hoping that you guys learned something from it. I am hoping that our mistake
prevents you from making the mistake that we did, and you don't have to rebuild this guy twice. But thank you so much. Please don't forget to subscribe. This helps keep us going, and look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Bye guys.